Hello and welcome to today's episode of Vox Lorcana. My name is Scott, also known as Cypher 1000. I will be your driver this evening. Sitting to my east, coming to you from the Lone Star Studio, we have the wonderful and talented Daniel. Hello, Daniel. How are you doing tonight?
Howdy, howdy.
And up to the north, broadcasting from Studio Pacifica, we have the talented and wonderful Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello.
Welcome to the last show of 2024.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
How is it December?
I don't know.
That's the right question. I feel like we've gone back to the future. We started in 1998 and somehow ended up here.
Indeed. Yes. A lot has happened over this last year.
It has. Thanks for being here, everybody. And if you're listening later on through YouTube, I appreciate the listen there. Later on in the program, we will have Katie from the Lorkeepers Inn on the show to discuss not just her program, but also her work with the Illumineers Championship League, her recent trip to Tokyo Disney, of all places, and whatever else seems good at the time. And a little bit before that, the Vox Lorcana team will take a look forward into 2025 and discuss our top 3 hopes for Lorcana. But first, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. How was the holiday for y'all?
It's great. Pretty low key. It feels like we got together with some family, but nothing too crazy. Ate some good food.
You say nothing too crazy, and then I'll refer you back to the 18 pies.
Well, yes. There were.
That's normal, though, right?
That's normal for me. Yeah. And I think I shared it on Blue Sky that my grandma had a tradition of making a whole boatload of pies every year for friends and family and neighbors. And she has what I think is the best pumpkin pie. And she has since passed, but I have carried on that tradition and will make anywhere from, I feel like 16, 18 is kind of my low end, up to like 22, 24 pies, and hand them out to friends and neighbors. Took some to Lorcana League and all of that. I have it down to a science. Like, it's a whole production line. It goes real quick. It's a lot of fun. And then I get to deliver pies and it makes people smile. So that is one of my favorite parts of Thanksgiving. Yeah.
You are speaking my pie religion. For anybody that doesn't know, I do enjoy pie. It is my favorite dessert. Pumpkin is a great seasonal pie, so really look forward to that. And one day I'm coming for a slice of that homemade pie. Don't know when it will be.
Some day. Absolutely. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was uneventful, which is great. We nearly missed we missed 2 accidents. We narrowly avoided them. Thankfully. We traveled a couple miles up north to be with my mom. First accident, there was at least 2 ambulances involved. The second one, there was at least 8 emergency vehicles in the rear view window as we came off it was a big detour around. And even on that detour, there was 4 emergency vehicles going to what we believe was a turkey fryer incident.
Oh boy.
So hopefully everybody was okay there. Fortunately, we were okay. Mom made entirely too much food for 3 people. Could have fed at least 9. Came away with some wonderful apple cranberry crisp, and some Costco pumpkin pie, which is not Rebecca's, but is a fine substitute for now.
Hey, it's a pretty good one.
It is. Daniel, how was you and your family?
Well, pre-Thanksgiving, we went on a Disney cruise. That was a year in the making, so that was exciting. That was fun. The girls' first time. We went to Disney Wish, and the night before we went to Disney World and got to do Mickey's Very Christmas party. So that was fantastic. It was first time for a lot of things, right? Lily's first time riding all the roller coasters at Disney World. She loved Tron, and we just had a blast, right? And so we were very full of all of that, and then hopped in the car a day after we got back and drove to my parents in Dallas and had a very low key and just relaxing Thanksgiving. Saw Moana 2 I deep fried a turkey with no accidents. So yeah,
Good.
it was good. Yeah.
Is this your first time frying the turkey?
My first time doing it by myself, right?
Okay.
So my father-in-law had bequeathed me with the Cajun fryer setup, and so yeah, it was nice to test it out. Normally, I smoke my turkeys, so but my parents have
Oh,
never had a deep fried turkey before, so wanted to show them a little bit of the Cajun side of the family that I've married into. So that was fun.
nice.
Cajun turkey
Um,
sounds awesome.
can I ask two questions, Daniel? Okay. One is Moana 2. What I've heard some mixed reviews. Worth going to see in the theater. Now we get the promo card though, if
I
you're
was
at
gonna say
Cinemark.
the promo card is worth it alone.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So I might.
you know, look, I think I'm not going to be the biggest critic with any Disney movie, right? I mean, we'll start with Wish, right? I have no critique. It's a great movie. I loved everything about it. I cried. I mean, the storyline is still such an incredible storyline, and
Hmm.
again, as a girl dad of two girls, and I
Yeah.
was not just crying for like what this story meant for my daughters. I was crying because I was inspired, right? Yeah, this inspirational story of going beyond and exploring. And we all live in a world of great ambiguity, and it's just this feeling of empowerment. And I felt it too. So, I mean, that was
Hmm.
awesome from that lens. I think you really have to miss Lin Manuel's,
Yeah.
his amazing genius, and it's hard to compare against that. But we've loved the music. The girls have been listening to it in the car rides to school after. All in all, we loved it. I think if we had to give it a rating, I think my partner gave it like a 84 out of 100. So that's pretty high, right? I
Nice.
mean, worth
That is
going to the
pretty high.
theaters to see it. And
Yeah.
I think I could have also just as easily seen it, direct to Disney Plus. But I'm really glad that we went to the theater to see it. So
Yeah. Did you know that it started out as it was intended to be a
yeah,
Disney
yeah.
Plus series? Not even like a
Mhm.
movie, but like a series. So interesting how
Yeah,
they.
there was some pacing and cadence. I mean, knowing that, I definitely could feel it in a few places, but no one else did, right, from the family. And
Yeah.
so, it was kind
Yeah.
of fun to share that with Lily afterwards. She's like, "Oh, really?"
Oh, yeah.
But
And
yeah,
then, oh, was the cruise and Walt Disney World trip complete surprise for both girls? Like the whole thing?
yeah, yeah.
It
No, the
was.
cruise
That's
was not
so
a surprise.
fun.
But yeah,
Oh,
the
the
cruise
cruise
was
was
not a
not a
surprise.
surprise.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we show up at Disney. Or we show up in Florida, and we're taking our Uber, and we're like, oh, we're here at Art of, we're just at a Disney property hotel. What are we gonna do the rest of the day? We're just gonna hang out. And then
Aw,
we just couldn't
fun.
resist ourselves. Like once we got to the rooms, we're like, girls, what do you want to do with the rest of the day? And I was like, do you want to go to Disney World? So that was fun. That was really fun.
That's sweet. Love it.
Yeah, we had 8 people from our league went to see Moana at the same showing.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah,
That's so
we made
cool.
it a league event. It
That's
was
really
fun.
fun.
3 or 4 different families, and uh, it was fine. Like it's. I would give it maybe a B minus. Uh,
Mhm.
I enjoyed half the songs. A couple of the songs were like just complete misses for me, just personal preference. Definitely not Lin Manuel. Penning the score and the music. Uh, storyline, it was fine. Like it was a pretty good storyline. Um, I with the card, I think it's worth seeing in the theaters. Without the card, I would say wait.
Yeah.
But the card, I
That's
think
I
pushes it over.
I wasn't planning to see it in the theaters, and then when they announced that you could get the promo card now in the US, we have a Cinemark
Mhm.
here in town, and I was like, "Well, all right."
Sure.
Twist my arm.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Won't threaten me with a good time.
Fine.
So what have y'all been playing at leagues and in your local game stores?
Well, Rebecca, you've
Cards.
been cooking up a lot of cards. You've got some fun decks.
I've been doing a lot of theme decks, and I finally got around to making a pirate deck, and it is almost all new cards from Azurite Sea. Because of all the pirates, it's a more aggro pirate poo. So it has like Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and all their friends. The Wendy, Michael, John, Darling family pirates. And it's a pretty fun deck. It's aggro, so it dies very quickly to steal, but it's still a pretty fun deck, actually.
That's great. Lily and I, we've had so much travel. We have missed local league for the last month. I mean, even
Wow.
the set release. I was in St. Louis for a conference, and got to catch up with the Rolls of Villainy crew down there and play some games. But it's been less of trying to play set 6 cards and more just having fun, right? And we even brought cards on the cruise ship. Lily got to teach someone how to play Lorcana, and that was fun. But yeah, we've not really been deep in the meta this set.
What about you, Scott?
I've got all kinds of stuff going on. The 2 that I've played so far, I've tried 2 different pirate decks. The first one was Terabad. That was the Amber Ruby version with mostly Pooh stuff. I switched to Red Green.
Fun.
And that is much more functional. It's in a good place for now. I still want to get more testing in with it. And again, I'm not trying to optimize these. I'm optimizing it for fun and or multiplayer, and for multiplayer experience rather than domination. The Princess deck, I did go ahead and put in Grand Duke.
You put the Grand Duke in. All right.
No regrets
Nice.
there. That ended up being more functional than I thought for a first iteration. So again,
Amber and what?
Ruby.
Yeah, Amber Ruby Princess. That's right. I remember you saying that.
Amber Ruby Princess.
Mulan.
Grand Duke plus Tiana plus Sensor Core and just everybody else's print. I mean, it can get out of hand if people let it.
Fun.
So yeah, that was fun. And I've updated Lily Fossa for set 6, but I haven't had a chance to give it a spin yet.
Yeah.
Couple other decks brewing, but that's kind of what I've been dealing with lately.
I really want to try one of the Ruby Amethyst like burn decks that you've seen. I don't know if you've seen those. I've gotten a couple new cards. I only have 2 Maui Sharks though, and I'm just not gonna go buy 2 more. We're lucky enough to pull 2, but that looks like a really fun deck.
Yep.
So I want to try that out.
I want to try Amethyst Emerald.
That looks real fun, this set.
Yeah, that looks great. And I want to try Amethyst Steel. I feel like that's slightly under the radar, just a little bit.
It's making some waves.
Right. Like it's gonna be a thing.
Yes.
So
yeah, it'll be really interesting with the European Championships, coming this weekend. How much of Amethyst Steel we're going to see.
Yep.
I think we're going to see a fair amount.
Well, we've got a little bit of bookkeeping to take care of here. Some folks know, and I've been saying over the past month, that at the end of this month, or really after today, my personal account on X will be phased out. I've gone over to Blue Sky. And the primary reason was some changes that they've made regarding moderation, namely how blocked accounts are handled. I can't support those changes and needed to leave. So the change was kind of coming for a while. And once they finally said they are going to put that into effect, I was like, okay, I've got to go. So with that, there was the question of what are we going to do with Vox, since we obviously currently use X or Twitter to handle the spaces. So the first announcement, starting in 2025, we will be migrating the show off of X and streaming directly to YouTube and Twitch. So we've got to get the Twitch account started. YouTube account obviously already exists because that's where we're uploading the recordings after the spaces. It will still be audio only, even though slides may be incorporated. We'll have to figure that out here in the next few weeks. There's some pros and cons with it. Unfortunately, it means we will no longer have the ability to take callers as easily as we used to via voice. you will have the chat function through the normal YouTube and Twitch interfaces to make comments, ask questions. And I know a lot of people actually prefer that. There's a lot of folks that, frankly, just are afraid of coming on and speaking on a live show. And I completely understand why that is, but maybe they feel more comfortable typing. And so that part's cool. There are ways for us to bring people into the audio on occasion. And so periodically, if folks want or need to be included for whatever reason, we'll still try to make that happen, but it won't be as common as it has been in the past. We'll still have guests, like that part won't change. But yeah, we'll be streaming directly to YouTube and Twitch. That means that the recordings will go live much faster, which I am thrilled about. Because making that, even with very slight edits, is kind of a pain in the rear when it comes to pulling down audio from Spaces, although I found a better service to help me with that, so that's good. So yes, starting 2025, all shows will be directly through or streaming directly to YouTube and Twitch. Second, we will actually have 2 shows in January. The first show of the year will be Wednesday, January 8th, before Continentals. The first Wednesday is when we normally do our show, but the first Wednesday of January happens to be New Year's Day, and folks are going to be in food comas or possibly have had too many adult beverages or watching college football or whatever else you may be doing on that holiday. So yeah, we're not going to do that. We will go ahead and kick it off the following week, right before Continentals. And then the second show will be the following Wednesday, January 15th, immediately after Continentals. That'll be less showy and more just stream of consciousness debrief. Very excited to get back and get Rebecca's and Daniel's thoughts on what happened there. We'll be there. I know Rebecca, I'm pretty sure will be there. Well, no, I know she will because you're doing a thing that we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Yes.
Daniel, I'm hoping it still works out. Maybe it won't. I don't know where.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Okay. And on that note, we'll also be winding down the Vox Lorcana X account and ramping up the Vox Lorcana Blue Sky account, voxlorcana.lorcana.community over there, or just at Vox Lorcana on Blue Sky. And that will be the new social home for the show. So if you're following us on X, I'd appreciate the follow on Blue Sky if you've made the jump. If not, I understand, although I would encourage anybody to create a Blue Sky account. It is, in my opinion, much closer to what social media should be. Far less advertising, for sure, and easier to really just follow and enjoy the people that you want to engage with. Now, I mentioned voxlorcana.lorcana.community. That lorcana.community is a domain that Daniel created for use with Blue Sky. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the fun things about Blue Sky, for those who don't know, it's some people call it a Twitter clone, but really, I think Blue Sky has a lot more features as a decentralized platform. I think the best way to think about it is imagine you have your very own personalized mini blog, but it just happens to have a Twitter feed-like interface, and it makes it easy for you to take your posts and your conversations with you wherever you want to go. One of the nice features is you can create a custom handle domain name. And so what I think I want to say, I think the Swifties really kind of took hold of that. And I saw that even the Dis Nerds had created their own custom domain, and I thought it'd be fun to create something for the Lorcana community. And so reached out to Rebecca and Scott and kind of brainstormed some ideas and ended up picking up lorcana.community as a domain name. And there's some wonderful developer who created open source code that lets you basically, be able to register your own lorcana.community handle. And so you can choose anything from, and so we got Eric in the audience. You could do epicswitzer.lorcana.community if you wanted to. And at no cost, we kind of asked the community to help crowdfund support it. And it's awesome. I think the community showed up. And we've had some wonderful people help us basically fund this for the next 2 years, and just super excited about that. So, I think it's just Blue Sky kind of feels like summer camp right now.
Yes.
It's a lot of it's very campy. It's fun. It's a great way. I think people are constantly posting about their interests because it's a lot harder without an algorithm to find each other. And I think the Lorcana.community custom handle allows for the community to have another way to find each other. So that's been fun. And Scott, thank you for your support and really kind of pushing me to get this all done. I will say behind the scenes, if you can imagine, I have not fully packed for our cruise. It is 11:30.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually, it was like 1 a.m. at night. I am buying a domain name. I am on GitHub, building, a SQL database, and pushing out the app and testing it, and it broke and it wasn't working. I was having a panic attack, and then I think around like 2 a.m. I got it working. Someone was up and tested it, and I was like, all right, we'll see if this works. And then I was literally troubleshooting it on the plane on the way to Orlando. But glad it's working and love to see. I think we've got about 56 users who've now claimed their own custom domain name and are using it proudly on Blue Sky. So that's been fun.
Including Steve Warner.
Yeah. I reached out to Steve. I was like, Steve, here's a custom
cool
name if you want to use it. And yeah, he totally did.
That's awesome. And just in general, Daniel, you've done so much to, I think, help migrate a lot of the
Yes.
Lorcana community. You created that starter pack for people to follow, and you've been adding users to it and just really helping people navigate that new space. And I think that that's been so great. And I know I appreciate it, and I think everyone else does. So just thanks for everything that you've done to help make Blue Sky a welcome space,
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. Blue Sky was actually my obsession before Lorcana. So, got in when it was a closed beta. One of the developers lived here in Austin, so I was running, hosting meetups for the Blue Sky community in Austin, Texas, and then Lorcana happened, and I sort of drifted away. And it's just fun to be back and to help people navigate transition, right? So
yeah,
happy to do it.
It's cool.
And Rebecca, you've got something coming up for North American Continentals, Quest in the Park. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we just yesterday and today kind of started teasing about it a little bit. So myself, along with a few other content creators, Enchanted Kim, Sarah Lorcana Librarian, and Liam and Aaron from the Illuminateers have all been talking behind the scenes about having a day at Disneyland where people, if you're going to be down there for North American Championships, that hopefully you can tack on an extra day or two and plan to be in Disneyland at the park on Thursday, the 9th. So we didn't want to do it on Friday, obviously, because that's when the last chance qualifiers are. We're going to just try to do some fun, meeting up for lunch or watching fireworks and some different things. All, of course, unofficial, not affiliated with Ravensburger or Disney Lorcana, but just kind of all planning to be at the park at the same time and have some fun together. So we'll have more details about that, silly things too. Let's all go ride on the Mark Twain together at the same time, and have some fun. So Quest in the Park, we created some social accounts for that on Blue Sky and Instagram, and you can watch for more details.
And is that just at Quest in the Park?
At Quest in the Park. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we need to pay the bills, and so we'll jump to our first commercial. Today's show is brought to you in part by Amber Inc. Sometimes we wake up in the morning and need a jolt of joy to get up to full speed. And if that's you, why don't you consider adding a teaspoon of Amber Ink to your morning drink? Amber is the ink of choice for healers, dwarves, and Dalmatians. And it's impossible to be grumpy when a puppy is attacking your face with little puppy licks. And if the little doggo does get a bit too rambunctious and bites you, well, just add a bit of Rapunzel to heal that wound and draw you some cards while you're at it. So if the days are rough as sandpaper, just add some sunshine to your deck and let Amber lighten the load. All right. We have been pondering secretly to ourselves kind of what we want to see in 2025. And so we're going to transition into a discussion about really what our top hopes for 2025. We're each going to share 3 of ours. And one of you go ahead and share your number 3 wish, please.
I'll go first. My number 3 wish is that the 3 of us will physically be in the same space.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
hopefully,
yes.
Continentals. It's an easy one.
That is an easy one. Hopefully that happens.
It is, and it completely is that's something I've been wanting to make happen, and yet I just totally spaced that. Yes, absolutely. Concur / agree.
Concur. That was not on my list. Now I feel bad.
And Rebecca, what was your number?
Okay. My number 3, which I don't know. I didn't know what order to put these in, but
Okay.
Official judge program.
Oh.
I really think we need an official judge program for the game sooner rather than later. And it's just so needed. And so hopefully in 2025, that will happen.
I don't disagree with that. What do you perceive as some of the benefits of having an official judge program?
I think that you're just going to get some more consistency. I think a better vetting process for the people who are, hired as judges. I think I've heard a lot of stories, about inconsistent calls at the DLCs, and and a lot of it is, I think, because there's so many people that are new to the game and to TCGs in general, but have gotten involved in that way, and so they're still learning. So I think there needs to be better training and I don't know, testing or whatever. Like I said, just better vetting for the judge staff so that it's really consistent and high quality across the board for all events at every level.
Great call. Great call.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is I'm hoping that Worlds really is just a huge celebration, just a giant blowout, right? Like I want a gala for everybody to be able to come to from all of the continents and enjoy Walt Disney World and enjoy the World Championships. There's only going to be, I think we saw 26 people that are qualified.
Correct. Yeah. 26.
So if we've got 26, that doesn't need necessarily a ton of time, or although it might need time, it doesn't need the same amount of space as a DLC. So if they have that space, maybe it can be used for other side events and other celebratory just events and letting people have space to come and play and engage with the game, enjoy the game. Daniel, I know you said you wanted to have people really come and learn, have like gateway sessions or something along those lines.
Yeah.
That would be great. And I'm hoping that at that, we also get the debut of Disney Lorcana Quest.
Yes.
Yes.
That was teased at D23, and I don't think we've heard really much about it since, have we?
No, nope, not really. I mean, they said that there would be like some bits of what it's supposed to look like at the championships. So I think some of what we've heard, they haven't officially used that terminology, Disney Lorcana Quest, but I think some of what we're seeing with like what is it, like the passport? They said each attendee is going to get a passport for different activities and stuff. I think that's kind of a small taste of what's coming.
I hope they have stamps.
Yeah, right? I know, exactly.
So they've demoed this, right, at China Joy earlier this summer and at the Tokyo Japan Expo.
Oh, did they?
If I recall, like the passport had like 4 or 5 different things, and you accomplished each one, right? One of them was, meet with the developer, play Pack Rush. And if you did all of them, then you got, your Mickey card, and then you had this signed, right? So that was kind of part of the experience. And then they also had sort of this really cool card holder stand, and they had ink stickers, right? They had like a shiny sticker, holographic sticker of each ink color. So yeah, that was a kind of a cool, nifty experience. And so really was hoping to see more of that. And I think seeing tidbits, right, seeing bits of that with what's planned for this weekend. And I think we'll be excited to see kind of that flush out more, hopefully, for Worlds. So I agree.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we'll go ahead and snake it back. Snake it back around. I'll start with number 2 and go back to Rebecca after that. My number 2, I hope that we see some improved communication from Ravensburger and whoever their partner is for the tournament organizers for next year, whether it's PPG again or whoever else it is. Hoping that we get more details sooner about DLCs, about how we qualify for things, what events will be at these things. I want folks to be able to plan a little bit easier, have more advanced opportunity to know whether they're going or not, and who's allowed to go. And for things like even more recently with the confusion about the those qualified for Continentals for North America, whether or not they got to bring their or +1.
The +1, yeah.
Yeah. For even bits of information about that, I just like to see improved communication really all around for their official events, organized play, quests, things like that.
1,000%. Yeah. And hopefully a lot of the delayed communication, I guess we'll say, this first year is because it's the first year,
Right.
and so I'm really hoping, and which I'll kind of segue into my own next thing, which is kind of a combination, Scott, of your number 3 and number 2, which is I wrote down expanded DLC experiences / Lorcana quest / communication.
Yep. Preach it.
So, yep, that's I think all of those things, and I'm hopeful that there will be a lot more advanced communication about events because they will have these things planned out further.
You said expanded. What do you think is the right size for a DLC?
Well, so when I say expanded DLC, there's one of 2 ways that I think they could go. One is you could just literally expand the size of each event to accommodate more people. With that, of course, comes more complications of finding the right venue. How do you run a tournament for a lot more people, et cetera, et cetera? I know it could be done, but there's pros and cons there. The other way that they could expand is just adding more events in more cities of similar size. That, of course, also comes with complications, and putting on an event of that size is a huge undertaking. And to add more of those through the year would be a lot for the tournament organizer, for Ravensburger. So I think that either of those is an option that they have before them, and it's figuring out what is the right thing for, I guess, what they have the bandwidth to do.
Sure.
I would be okay either way. I don't know if I have any particular leaning towards. I think more would be nice in that probably more people would have access to the events because hopefully they would have one, close to where they live. So that would be a bit pro there. So expanded in some way, but
Yep.
yeah.
I like it. Daniel, you're number 2.
I think this one's related. I think that the family aspect of this game is so critical, important to us. So, again, it's been exciting to watch marketing slowly start to ramp, right, with the promo card. And I just, I think one thing that has also been teased is, kind of like, what does Quest, right, look like broadly? And, I think the broad wish is just, I really hope you've got a year to really get it right and get families into this. And communication is key, right? I think there's so many parents I've talked to where even just planning around a DLC is almost impossible. The experience today, right, of registering, of trying to register for a ticket as an attendee is nauseating. I mean, I actually get triggered thinking about it. And we've tried for it, twice, right? Once for Chicago, and that was really nerve wracking. I don't think Lily and I got off the wait list for Chicago until the week of. And it was at a point where, here I was sitting with, I had done all my planning. I had my Southwest airline ticket that I knew I could cancel. I had a hotel that I booked that I knew I could cancel with a refund. So I did everything I possibly could to make sure that I didn't put myself in a bind. I think we got our wait list less than 7 days. So it was like, this is go time. So I think the Monday before, and then what added to that anxiety then was, I think side event registration happened that Thursday, right, for Friday, Saturday side events. And I had some issues registering Lily. And so that was just such a nerve-wracking experience. And again, it's the first year. It's been amazing to see how PPG has kind of responded to those pieces. but I really think that the communication part is so key. And it's impossible. People and families in particular plan vacations a year out. I mean, we're already talking about going back on a Disney cruise next Thanksgiving.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and so I truly wish that in order for families to have a fantastic experience, and the little things, I think we tolerate, right? Those of us who are fanatics, we tolerate those things, but your average family that is new to TCGs, which I think and I truly believe is a huge core audience for Disney Lorcana, like we have to do that better. Right? So that's my number two.
And on doing it better, I would add, I would love to see them. I think they need to have a way to allow parents and children to register.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today
At the same time, so that you're not left in a situation where the child has a ticket and the parent doesn't. That is dreadful.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, even
imagine if you have like 2 kids or 3 kids, right? Or 4 kids. I mean, that's
and even like kids and families 100%, but even just like for couples, like a husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, like if somebody and their partner is trying to get tickets, like, and I understand that the reason why they have the ticketing system the way they do is to stop scalping, is my understanding, but there's got to be a better way where you can get multiple tickets so that everyone in your household can get tickets at the same time. And the current process is just so frustrating.
Yep. Daniel, what is your biggest wish for next year?
I spent a lot of time thinking about this. This is a personal one, right? I hope that Lily continues to love this game, right? Whatever that way means, right? Whether that's competitively, which would be cool, be full support of that. And, if it's really just thriving and teaching other kids how to play, we have a lot of plans for this next year, engaging with our local library and just coming up with creative ways to get more kids into Lorcana. I just hope that this continues to be a space. She's going to turn 8 in a few weeks, and there's a lot of things she could do as an 8-year-old, but I hope that Disney Lorcana is one of them. So that's my number one change.
I love it.
Rebecca, what about you?
So my biggest thing for next year, my biggest Lorcana wish is also, I guess, personal for me, but kind of extends beyond just my own experience, in that I want to see overall like a better, more consistent locals, experience with League. I think that the experience right now is just, and I understand it's going to be dependent on the store, right? The store makes so many decisions, but it is very, very inconsistent right now in the experience that people have. And I've seen so many people go into a locals league that are newer casual players, and they go once and never come back and never play the game again because it's a bad experience. And that makes me so sad. I've stopped going to my local league because of how the experience has been there. And I don't know what support can come from Ravensburger to help give local stores the tools they need to create an experience that welcomes, all types of players in the ways they want to engage with the game. And that it's not ever an either or, it's not this or that, but that it's all. And I don't know what that looks like. So it's a big wish. But I feel like the experience can be better than what it is today and more consistent across the board. Or maybe that's just my naive wishful thinking. But either way, that's my number one.
No, it definitely can be improved. I don't think it's wishful thinking, and that's what we're doing right now. We're wishing for
it's wishing, yes.
But I do think it's possible, partly because I see it in my own community. We're blessed in that we have not just, so there's one store that has multiple locations where you've got both competitive and casual coexisting and intermingling periodically with one another. But we have multiple stores, multiple corporations that are doing it. So it's not just that one chain. There's at least 3 different stores that have successful leagues like that. The lowest one, the average attendance is 10. I think the highest average attendance is about 22. So I know it can happen. Part of it is community dependent. Part of it is certainly store dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's naive. I think it is possible, but maybe not everywhere, maybe not always. I think there are some limiting factors, and that's what can be tough to work around sometimes. That's where the challenge is, right? Is like you said, working with the stores, because they make a lot of the decisions and they're going to do rightfully what they perceive as best for them and their community. It just may not be always what we want.
Yep.
My number one wish for next year, we've got a small army of dedicated Lorcana enthusiasts and fanatics, Lorcaniacs, if you will, out there that want to bring more people in. They want to be involved with the game. They want to do things, the types of things that Daniel is looking at doing, as far as holding community events, trying to bring new people, to teach families, usher them into the game, into the community. I would like to see that army activated by Ravensburger. I'd like to see us put to use in a slightly more official capacity, and really empower folks like Daniel to say, yes, he is an official ambassador or whatever, Illumineer. I don't care what the title is, but basically say, yeah, he's someone that is known in the community, that is a go-to person. We would like him to do activities XYZ. And really, the whole point would just be to foster the spread of the game, to foster the goodwill that we're already experiencing on our own, and bring that to others, to help just grow the community. And then to provide feedback from the community to Ravensburger, what as far as what's going on, instead of just maybe Discord messages, or hearing something by the by through Twitter or an email. Get kind of official monthly reports or whatever from us, saying, what are you seeing? What's the feedback, whether it's for sets, whether it's for activities, leagues, whatever the case may be. I would like to see us activated, and really put to use. They're doing that in some small capacities as events come up, like they did with the Anaheim Angels game, or LA Angels. Well, I'm not sure what. I know they're in LA now, or yeah, I can't remember it.
Yes.
But yeah, there was an Angels game. They had people doing stuff outside of that. That's definitely one thing that I'd like to see more of, but I don't think it has to be limited to activations like that. There's a lot of different ways that we can be used, and I would like to see us used really to grow the game, and yeah, just make or not make, but invite more people to play. We can do that on our own. I'm not saying that we aren't. I just want to see that in a little bit more official capacity.
Official. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great.
So that's what we're looking for, or that's what we're hoping for next year. We'll see if any of that happens. I definitely think some of it can. I'm pretty sure some will. If I was a betting man, I would put at least a nice shiny nickel on a couple of those things. We'll see what actually comes to pass next year at this time. At the moment, we're just about ready to bring Katie on, our guest for the evening. Before we get to her, our discussion with Katie is going to be brought to you by the Ink Ruby. Do you find yourself enjoying Disney, but not their characters? Do you ever look across the Lorcana table at a full board of singers and think to yourself, would you please shut up? Well, to that, Ruby asks, when was the last time you thought about Madame Medusa? You see, Ruby's found a way to simultaneously detest both fun and joy, and has built its reputation upon such hits as Brawl, Dragonfire, and let's not forget the other chair lady, the one and only Tremaine. So if you like to enjoy Lorcana, but those characters gotta go, even your own, be sure to be prepared and toss a little Ruby in your deck. All right, it is time to bring on Katie from the Lorkeepers Inn. Katie, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm so excited. Apparently, this is my first time on Vox Lorcana, and I'm very excited.
Woohoo.
We are thrilled to have you for sure. You are a busy woman You're engaged with your own show, The Lorkeeper's Inn. We'll talk to you about that here in just a bit. But I wanted to start with your involvement in the Illumineers Champions League or Illumineer Champions League. What is that, and what is your involvement with that?
So the Lumineer Champions League it's just the baby right now. So right now they've been doing exposition matches. So what'll happen is I think a lot of people have seen that there are official rather there's some teams that have more notoriety. Like your labyrinths and your Forbidden Mountains of the world where you see jerseys and you're like, oh man, I wish I had a jersey. But the Illuminated Champions League is kind of built on that where now you can have teams. Usually, three people represent the team, and they'll have matches on via webcam. So it's very, very cool. Once it kicks off in earnest, there'll be more structure around it. Right now, it's just really getting everybody familiar with the format. I think anyone who's played a webcam game can definitely say it's a learning curve, whether it's from equipment, comfortableness, all that fun stuff. Um, but yeah, so my involvement has been I have done a couple interviews and then I've also gotten a chance to cast twice, which has been so thrilling. I've done my best Rebecca impression. So
Okay. So you said you've casted twice. Is that something that you've wanted to do, or how did it come about for you to be a caster?
well, it's so tricky. I feel like it's like, well, I'm commentating. I feel like I have to soften it some way because I just feel like that's such a lofty thing. But I think part of it is I think it's a fun way to be a part of it. I have an analytical brain. I like the part where, you get to, it's more fun to play it when you're not making the decisions. Um, because I become so smart all of a sudden. I'm like, wow, I would have known. So that's fun. But no, but the biggest thing is it's just I really love the game. I like keeping up with the meta. I like seeing people at their best. I think that's my favorite part. So Luke, who is I always want to say Vanderland, but I think he just says
Yes.
it's Wonderland.
Wonderland.
But Luke, who
Yes.
you may know as Champion Luke, he invited me in along with Rod Gustad. It's so funny. Everybody has like their government name and then their like online name. So it's like, there's a picture that you imagine in your head, their face, their name, and then their sign on. And then Breezy, which is also not his government name. They're kind of been putting it together and then they looped me in to kind of help out. And the goal is like it's not me all the time. I'll just be helping out when necessary. I think they want to get as many people as part of it as possible because I think one thing that anybody who's been interested in casting, interviewing, anything like that can say is there's not a lot of opportunities to get practice other than talking to yourself. So it has been a very cool opportunity I feel like it's like job shadowing because I got a chance to actually cast with B Squared, Brandon, and I felt like I was, like in the bear, and I'm like next to like, yes, chef, because he knows his stuff.
Yes, chef.
So
Brandon's the best.
he is. He's like the nicest human, and he has the best subtle Southern draw that I think is truly fantastic. Which I think that's an underrated aspect of Brandon's casting.
So, as you've been casting, what's something that you learned so far from your casting journey with him?
Well, I think my biggest thing I've learned is it is so hard to be entertaining and educational at the same time because I don't know if Rebecca can kind of opine on this, but there's moments where like nothing interesting is happening. So you're like, okay, I'll say something kind of, I don't know, I'll improv. And then you're like talking, and then something interesting does happen, and you're like, whatever, I want to throw that out the window. So it's like this balance of like, you don't want to have dead air, but at the same time, you don't want to interrupt yourself for something cooler. But sometimes you have to because you're like, well, that's way more interesting than this dumb story I'm telling. I don't know. Is that something you've run into, Rebecca?
Oh my gosh. I wish you could see my face. I'm just cracking up.
Because yeah, you just start talking and you're
No,
like,
that never happens.
yeah, you're like, I'll start saying this, and then all of a sudden something actually very cool happens. You're like, never mind, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the first time I saw Pinocchio. Let's talk about it. So it's such an interesting thing. And then yeah, you're trying to listen to what the other person's saying because obviously it's a conversation, but also you're watching the game and trying to develop your own thoughts. So it's just very interesting. It's a fun way to kind of challenge yourself to put your brain in several places at once.
There is like there's a lot going on, right? So you have to keep track. It's like spinning a lot of plates in the air
Yeah.
at the same time is what casting is like, and it's really hard to explain to somebody what that is like. until like you do it. And yeah, so I don't know, like, did you imagine before you had done it that it would be like that with all the different things? Like, you're watching what's going on and you have to listen and you have to think and, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, then you also want to say smart things. That's the other thing too is,
Mhm.
you're not only are you commentating, but you're commentating people who are at the top of their game. So you obviously don't want to say like, be prepared's not that good or something that just like the dumbest thing just to fill time. So it's very interesting. You can't turn your brain off for a second. Which it's funny because the Lumineers Champion League right now, it'll be you do three rounds in a row, and by the third round I'm potato. I so I think that is very good. I think when I see someone do 2 rounds in a row, like when you guys do it on Twitch, I'm like, oh boy, because it's just you need a moment to just completely like turn your brain into pudding.
Yes.
So yeah, if you ever see a caster walking around between matches and they look like they're in a fugue state, it might be because they're in a fugue state. But it's not bad. It's a recharge. It's like this just
It's just that our brains are pudding.
yeah, the system's rebooting. It's a hard restart. You just got to completely turn it off, start it back up again, and then it'll be just like new.
Interesting computer metaphor there.
Oh yeah, it's topical. I try not to bring it in, but then earlier you guys were talking about like SQL. I'm like, no, please don't say anything about computers.
So that's your involvement with the Lumineer Champions League, but that's not your baby. Let's talk about the Lorkeeper's in for a while. What's that channel about, and where can people find your content?
So, it's technically a podcast, but now it's merging more towards YouTube because I think it's just me and like my sister downloading it each week as a podcast. So YouTube's kind of the primary thing right now. But essentially, it is I would call it a channel, so to speak. And it's tricky because people are like, oh, so it's like a movie. It's like, you talk about the meta. And I refuse to pick a lane. And I assume I need to at some point. But I don't want.
You
Yeah,
don't
I
have
don't
to.
want to. So, I'm like, I'll vlog, I'll make craft videos, I'll talk about movies, I'll talk about history, I'll talk about the meta, I'll talk about sealed. So it's kind of just a place for people to hang out with me. I mean, I think that's my biggest thing is that most of my videos have somebody else. I think I only have a few where it's just me. But I love having a space where people can come as you are. You can be that person that's like, I like pins, or you could be that person that's like, I'm gonna win a golden Mickey. All of it is exciting, and I love hearing those stories. And I love encouraging people to be exactly who they are, and just kind of celebrate the fact that I say we, like, not the four, but I mean we, as in all the people on in the community of Lorcana, have been so intentional of creating this like really beautiful community, and I just think there's so many cool stories within it. So that's another thing that I'm very passionate on my channel, is just talking to people from all corners of the game, because it's such a cool byproduct of the community that was built.
And honestly, I love that you have not picked a lane. Like, obviously, like there's a place for that. Like there's channels, like YouTube channels or podcasts, but they're always talking about the one thing that they talk about, and they do it very well or whatever. But it's like, I love that you talk about all the different things, and that way I can go to your channel and, pick my own adventure at the Lorkeeper's Inn.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing, is like you just check in, there's different areas. It's just kind of whatever you're into. I'm gonna make a video this week about how to make your own Christmas ornaments. I'm so excited, but I have to like physically do it. I
Oh.
can't phone that one in. I have to Martha Stewart it. So now that I say I'm done with that examination, I'm not done. I have to take it again. But this weekend, that's my big goal, is to make how to make a Lorcana Christmas ornament. And you guys are gonna love it, and I'm excited.
And then you also do things like have like wonderful conversations about like inclusivity in the community, which was a recent episode that you did with some wonderful guests. And it was such a beautiful conversation. And I just love that you hosted that particular conversation. And I think that kind of encapsulates, you know,
You had it right.
like I had it right. Like what your channel is about, about inclusivity of the game in all
Yeah.
its different fandoms and everything.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, you guys are talking about your wishes, and I'm like, put me in, coach, because like I
Yeah,
kept
do it.
come in. I was like, wait a minute, I have the button, I can unmute myself.
You could have. That would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
This is the mysterious caller, but I think that that's like my goal too for like the worlds and the Continentals is for it to be a celebration. I want, people talk about like, well, how could we have a tournament that big? I would bet that there's people that want to be there that just don't care at all about playing. They just want to be there and be around their friends and have merch and like, I don't know, trade pins and really just be part of the fandom. I think Disney by nature attracts people who just want to be a part of the vibes. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for is I think that there's so much room at the table and we just keep making it
Mhm.
bigger. And
Mhm.
obviously Worlds is fun because someone's going to be the world championship, but kind of like, I think, I don't remember who said it, but like a gala of just being like, we did it, we had it, look at this. Because I mean, all of us who watched the streams, who went to the events, who read the meta reports each week, all of us were part of this season. One of us will be the champion, not on this call, one of us somewhere will be the champion.
Somewhere.
We're somewhere in the world, but all of us has felt so much joy this year that I hope they let us and encourage that celebration because I mean, gosh, even like a room where we just sit and build puzzles. I'll do it. I just want to be there. I want to be around people I know that are cool.
There's a couple of things that you said that I think are really important. One, the kind of identifying with the players and the teams and getting to know the folks and realizing that you're kind of on the journey along with them. You may not be the one playing the cards, but we've been there. Whether it's listening through casters like yourself or Rebecca, whether it's been actually at the events, watching the games happen live on a larger screen, whatever the case may be, we've been along with them for the ride and we've been part of the journey. We want to see that journey to its conclusion and celebrate with our favorite players when they win, or give them a side hug or whatever if they lose. But to be there and to experience that, I agree with you. I think that's extremely important to be able to do. And the other part, going back a little prior to that, you're talking about intent and intentionality with community building. And I think that's extremely important as well. And part of what you did is you demonstrated that with your inclusivity video. We demonstrate that in our leagues or just even in our accounts, in our daily conversations with players saying, this is what we want Lorcana to be. We're just literally stating that this is what's appropriate behavior. We call out the inappropriate behavior. Everybody's welcome as long as they're not a jerk type of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds easy, but yeah, I mean, it's something where I think there's so many people who are orphans from other games, whether
Yep.
intentionally or on purpose, or, and so I think people are bringing good and bad baggage and saying, okay, well, let's work, let's throw out what's not working, and kind of it's cool to bring. I mean, some people bring 20 plus years of TCG experience and saying, well, what is this community going to be? And I know Ravensburger's led the charge in a lot of ways, but I think so much of it has come from people on the ground on the internet saying, I think it should be this. And then people saying, okay, I'll do it. I think like a great example of that is Enchanted Cam. I think people like Rebecca making videos that are songs and dancing and getting people just out of their comfort zone and exploring the game in a way where they haven't before. And it gets them to, I think that's how the game's going to last a longer time is
Yep.
making it all of the things that people want it to be. We don't have to, I don't have to pick a lane and you don't have to either. And that's me talking to Lorcana.
I'm going to break in here for just a moment. I know, Daniel, you need to run. So do you have any parting thoughts before you're off to your next engagement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Katie, I think don't pick a lane. I think that's part of your authenticity and what you bring. I mean, I think of all your content, which we've been following from the very beginning, my favorite one, I just got to throw out there so people will go listen to it, is your episode on This Is Your Brain on TCGs. That one on mental health
Yes.
is so key. And especially I think we're, as folks go into this competitive season, I really hope and that people take that to heart, right? So thank you. Please don't pick a lane, right? Keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic. And just love all of it. I did the run. Quick plug. Team Labyrinth is doing a private tournament, and I have my next scheduled match happening in 1 minute.
Whoa.
So I got to go, and not ready for that, but I'm jumping into that game.
All right, give him hell, brother.
Have fun. Yeah.
All right, thanks, everyone.
What's the TCG equivalent of breaking a leg? I don't know.
The card.
Rip a card.
Yeah,
Rip a card.
Yeah, pop a popsicle.
Rip those cards. See you, Daniel.
See ya.
Yeah, I would say as far as by picking a lane, I am much like the cars on Autopia, where I am swerving back and forth, directionless, but still going forward, you know? I don't know if everyone here on this call has been on to Autopia, but you don't go straight all the time.
I'm just imagining the exhaust fumes.
Oh, you know, but there's something really nostalgic about that, right? Like sometimes I'm
That's
just like,
true.
you breathe in, you're like, "Ugh,
Nothing
that can't be good for
nothing
you.
smells quite like Autopia.
They're like, this is the future. And I'm like, this is the future. This is tomorrow? Like, that's not
If
good.
that's not a tagline, I mean, if that doesn't say "Welcome to Disney," I don't know what does.
Yeah,
Right.
popcorn and gasoline.
Yes.
Hmm.
Do they have Autopia in Tokyo Disney?
You know, they don't. Unless they do.
My
And
God.
no, they don't. Because I think it would
Okay.
be where Beauty and the Beast is. Because, like, in my mind,
Mhm.
that's where it would be. So I wonder if they had it. But they're tearing down their entire Space Mountain. Like, people are like, oh, they're going to redo it. They're not redoing it. They are tearing it down to the floorboards and then building.
Wait, they are?
Yep, it's closed.
What are they building?
Space Mountain again, but better.
Wait, no.
So it's like funny because people are like, "Oh, they're redoing it," and it's like, "Well, no, they're tearing it absolutely down and then building new Space Mountain," which is kind of crazy.
I saw a satellite picture of that where it has like you can see like the current Space Mountain and then the one that's being built like literally right behind it.
Yeah, it's Tokyo. Okay, so this is a great transition. Tokyo Disney, go. I'm not sponsored, but I'm gonna make you go. Whoever's listening, because holy cow, they do it on such a different level. It's like, what if Disney had the budget to make a theme park and they just did it? And that's Tokyo Disney. Is it's just everything. Ugh, I'm going to talk for 2 more hours. Everybody, buckle in. Get your.
All right.
No, I love Tokyo Disney. That's a complete aside.
But I don't think it is though.
Okay, good.
No, I think I actually want you to expound on that a little bit, because a lot of us haven't been there. So take a few moments, if you will, and bring us into Tokyo Disney through your eyes and experiences. What is it like to be there? What are the things that we shouldn't miss?
Well, I mean, the first thing I'll say is that it is, if you're somebody that's like, I don't speak Japanese and it's expensive, I will say, yeah, obviously it's expensive. However, not that expensive from LA. The cheapest city in the country that I've seen to fly to Tokyo has consistently been LA. And with Zip Air, I'm not sponsored, but they should. But like Zip Air, you can get this like weird economy ticket where like they don't talk to you the whole flight, but it's really cheap. So you just get a seat and you're like, well, see you later. And so
Oh my goodness.
there are really cheap ways to get to Japan. And then once you get there, I mean, first off, the exchange rate's insane right now, which that's not forever. But even like the park ticket is, I think it ends up being like $70 versus I think a day at Disneyland is $120 right now.
Yes. Whoa.
So that's my biggest thing is it's obviously not cheap. So I don't want to say like, oh yeah, you could go tomorrow. But I mean, if you're talking about a Disney World vacation, which like yikes is expensive, even Disney cruise, it's obviously if you have a family. I always say this, like I don't have kids, so I'm like, whatever. But if you have kids, suddenly that math gets a lot wonkier. But Tokyo Disney in a nutshell is like a Magic Kingdom on steroids, but also not on steroids. It's on steroids in the sense that it's just giant. All the pathways are really wide because they're like, no congestion here. But then they have the best theme park in the entire world. Nobody will ever debate me on this. And if they do, they're probably scientifically wrong. Tokyo Disney Sea. And Tokyo Disney Sea just got better because Tokyo Disney Sea alone was amazing. Theme park fans might know that Disney parks, obsessed with IP lately, which is a good and a bad thing because obviously kids get a lot more excited about Anna and Elsa than they do Figment, your imagination dragon. So like I get it, but they didn't have a lot of IP in Tokyo Disney Sea. So you get this like insanely immersive, unique experience with these rides that you just are just blown away by. But then they opened Disney Springs, which added some Disney into Disney Springs. Sorry, Disney Sea. And the rides there, I teared up a little bit, which is that's saying
Aw.
something. Oh my gosh, it was so magical. Like the Beauty and the Beast ride in Tokyo Disneyland, I straight up cried a little. It was too magic. It was like too magical. I wanted to be like, "Where's the e-stop? Press the button. This is too magical. I can't handle it."
I've seen some videos of it, and it does look very magical.
It was the first time I've ever been on a ride,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm here. I'm Beauty and the Beast. It was amazing. So I've been 4 times now because I'm sick. I can't enjoy anything a little bit. But oh, it's just the souvenirs. I mean, you just look at like even the silliest stuff. They have useful souvenirs. Like you can get like a lint roller and Q-tips and like things you'll use when you get home. Like how incredible is that? Yeah, it's just
I actually like that.
yes, like you get stuff that you're like, I'm gonna use nail clippers. Like, come on, that's incredible. Like, it's so incredible that you can like, I can outfit my house. I can have a better life here at Disney. Like, I have like a rice paddle that I use for my rice cooker and all sorts of little bits and baubles and oh, it's so good. Oh, and the fact that like we talk about Disney, you know, that eternal debate. Oh, you know, Disney is for kids. Disney Lorcana is a game for kids. That's not a debate there. Like you see like 10 kids at Tokyo Disney. Like,
Oh, how funny.
they've given themselves off to the hedonistic pleasures of mouse ears and mouse shaped food and it's amazing. There are kids there, but it's just so many teenagers and adults just having a nice day. It's incredible.
How are the crowds? Is it busy?
It can get nutso. Like there was one time
Okay.
we went where the schools had the day off and like Japanese people are really good at making friends. Japanese kids, like, I don't think I ever had that many friends at once, but you'll see like 10 kids all wearing the same outfit. And then there's like 4,000 groups of 10 kids. Which the cool thing is you can buy the hats that they're wearing and then walk really close to them and see, like, oh, I guess I'm in your friend group now. Um, but there's times, yeah, where you're like, actually, I am not having fun. But it's only because I can't wait in lines anymore. I'm over that. I'm past that point in my life. If I can't pass it, then that's not meant for me.
It's going to be so interesting to see because the game releases in January, right?
Correct.
Like, are they going to have Lorcana there at the parks, and like, how is it going to be received? Because Disney is like a big thing there.
I've speculated on that. That like so Disney. I mean, there's Disney stores like in the mall. Like I went to like 4 or 5 while I was in Tokyo, and then so they had these things, and I don't know if you saw it. It's like Ben Weiss or some of these like something Schwartz, something Weiss. I don't know, but they're like these cards. They're just like these high quality Disney trading cards. Like you can't even play a game with them. Have you
Oh, I've seen those. Yes,
I think you're talking about the Weisschwartz D100 cards.
Yeah, and so like things like that are popular. So I'm like, they already if people are willing to buy cards and then do nothing with them, then I think knowing that there's so much room for TCGs. Now that's a blessing and a curse because I mean their TCG market is pretty saturated. I mean people are very serious about Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and Magic and I saw a little Flesh and Blood and then at least 4 or 5 games that I'm like, I don't know if this is the same game or separate games.
I think I heard from somebody that like Japan has like 1 or 2 trading card games that get released like every month or something like that. It was like some crazy number. I was like, whoa.
But the stores were active. Like I don't think I went to any card store and people weren't playing something.
Wow.
But I mean, it is one of the most populated cities in the world, so it makes sense that they got a bump in scene. But
Did you
yeah,
get any sense of how anticipated the game is going to be there?
I mean, the amount of times I said, Disney Lorcana or do desu ka? And they're like, Disney? I'm like, Lorcana. And they're like, so not ready. Not ready yet.
Not ready.
But also, I have ran into it where I'm like, I'm doing my best. I'm in line at Starbucks and I'm like, Kamaru urote onegai shimasu. And I'm like practicing. And I get up there and they're like, you want a caramel latte? So I think like sometimes it's like, I don't speak Japanese very well. So that could be it. Is like everybody on every store knew about Disney Lorcana, but they're like, what is this girl saying in that heavy Colorado accent? Very, very possible. But I also think before I went, they hadn't opened pre-orders. So they didn't open pre-orders until November something or other. I think it was like middle of November. They finally said, yes, you can pre-order. So up until that point, the only thing was the Tokyo Toy Show.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got 2 boxes, you
I'm
guys.
so jealous.
My brother-in-law lives in Japan, and so he when the pre-orders were up on Amazon, I was like, "Josh, please pre-order 2 boxes for me." And so then he's going to get them and ship them out to us.
And that's the real secret sauce, is because there's certain hurdles of difficulty in Japan, and the post office is one I'm not ready for, because I'm like, I can't fill out a form.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, customs and international shipping is always a little bit of an adventure.
Yeah, it's stressful. And then I found on Amazon someone was selling it, and I was like, oh, that's a good price. And $100 shipping. I'm like, what? Are you
Oh,
getting it a
boy.
plane ticket? Like, what is going on?
Right.
They're like,
Wow.
yeah, we're just gonna put it on Zip Airlines and send it. Stay at the airport.
Don't worry, the flight attendants won't talk to the
Yeah, they don't
box.
even know. It's just a package. That's how we ship
Yeah,
things.
it's not first class shipping, it's first class seating.
Yes, yes, yes. They're like, we just fill up the seat with stuff.
Oh, boy.
So I think I'm optimistic. I'm scared because I'm like, do I rebuy? I'm gonna rebuy. I think I'm gonna buy some cards, but yeah, I have 2 of the Mickey. I keep calling it Your Pal because it's Your Pal Mickey Mouse, and it's not. It's like True Friend Mickey Mouse, I think, is
Oh,
the
yeah.
card.
That's true, friend. Yeah.
I get it wrong literally every time. But anyway, I got 2 of them because they had 2, and I was so excited that I bought both. And then it's like, oh, so what are you gonna do with the extra one? I'm like, keep it forever, I guess.
Keep it forever.
So they sit next to each other, 2 Mickey side by side, forever in a box.
Well, I definitely appreciate your passion for both Disney and Lorcana specifically. Very, very glad to have you as part of the community. Glad that you're laneless with Lorkeepers in, and I echo what my other 2 hosts have said is if you don't want to stay in a lane, then don't. You do you. It's your show, and I've enjoyed it. Every lane you've been in so far.
I promise I'll use my turn signals.
Yes.
Fair enough. At this
Safe
point,
driving.
we'll open it up to the listeners to see if they have any questions for you or comments about the show. If so, go ahead and request to speak, and we'll get you promoted so you can engage in chat with us. While we wait for that, you said to put me in, Coach, so I am going to go ahead and put you in now. Katie, what are some of your wishes for next year? What would you like to see with Lorcana?
How did none of you say you're not looking for merchandise? Like, I was
Okay,
shocked.
that was my number 4. I was
Okay.
like debating. I had 4 on my list, and I was like, I have to pick 3 to talk about because Scott said 3, but one of them was swag. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I just want pins, and I want a shirt. I have 1 shirt because I volunteered for a Learn to Play event, and it's so special that I can't even wear it. I only wear it if I really want to intimidate people at a tournament. Because I'm like, yeah, this is a Rattenberger shirt. It's pretty hard to get, but I have it. But other than that, it has to stay pristine. But that's my number 1 wish.
My most cherished Lorcana thing is the hat.
I know, yeah. And you have to pick how terrible, not terrible, but that you're like, okay, do I want this card, or do I want a hat, or do I want a shirt? And I told my husband, I was like, I can't have the shirt because it'll be too special and I'll never be able to wash it. So,
Do you want to hear my shirt story?
yes.
Here's my Lorcana shirt story. Is the only way I could get a shirt that anyone could get a shirt was with tickets, right, at the DLC. And my son was at Seattle, played in the event, and I was like, Caleb, can I please use your tickets to get a shirt? And he's like, but I want to get packs.
What? No.
I can buy you
Yeah,
packs.
oh my God.
So that's what I said. I said, I'll buy you packs. I said, just let me have the tickets so I could get the shirt, and then I'll buy you packs. What I didn't account for, though, was that he wanted me to buy him first chapter packs.
Oh my God. No.
And so he turned the tickets in, got me the t-shirt, and then later I was back, I was on the commentary team, and then Dana was there, and Caleb was like, well, mom said she was going to buy me packs. And so Caleb walked my husband over to one of the vendors and was like, I want this many first chapter packs, because that's how many packs I would have gotten with the tickets. And Daniel was like, that was the most expensive t-shirt ever.
Yeah, dang it. It sucks when kids are smart. You're like, dang it.
But I have a shirt.
When I got the hat, there were players there at the event that were basically trying to ridicule me, saying, why would I effectively pay $60 for a hat?
Oh,
Because the basic price or equivalent price was roughly $5 per ticket.
$5 a ticket. Yeah.
And I said, no, you're wrong. It's a priceless hat.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this is the only place I can get this hat. Or any hat that's official, at least.
Yeah.
Also, I would definitely pay $60 for a hat. I am that person. Or if there was a cool enough hat that I want, I'm like, yeah, I'll buy 60. Yes. So that
Yeah.
argument
We need hats.
it wouldn't work.
We need hats. We need t-shirts. We need hoodies. We need zip ups. We need, I want like, yes, bags, patches that you could like sew onto like a backpack or whatever. Like we just need all the Disney Lorcana merchandise. And I'm sure it has something to do with licensing and Disney
100%.
and whoever knows to be able to sell it for money. But yeah, we need it. The people want it.
I want a Spirit jersey that says Illumineer.
Spirit jersey. Oh my gosh. I would love. Oh gosh. Can you imagine? I would buy that thing so fast.
Yeah,
in my mind, I've already bought it. I'm like, what is it? 200?
Right.
How much could it cost?
I was talking with Abby earlier this week about this very subject, and I speculate that maybe they don't want to put too many images of like Floodborn characters out there because that might dilute the canon images that are out there. So I can understand why maybe they don't want competing images or versions of characters. But at the very least, they can put out just the Lorcana brand and the iconography. Like if we want to rep a ruby shirt, they can make that. So those kinds of things that are Lorcana branding specific, not characters, but the brands and the icons, they could go gangbusters with that.
Oh yeah. Like you put the lore symbol on everything, put those ink symbols on everything.
Which I mean, Disney, if you're listening, this is free. This is I'm not going to charge you for this, but I mean, you have the Wonderground video galleries in Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's a Wonderground and it's like the Illuminarium, and you can get art from the game on demand, like they do for. I mean, my goodness. Mm-hmm. And like you could imagine getting a playmat on demand where you could pick like 5 of your favorite art and then like print it. I mean, there could be printing money and I'd spend it, but we'll see.
So many things.
I know.
Sitting on gold mine.
I know. To be fair, they are literally printing money. What is a TCG except for minting new forms of money?
But yeah, I would love to see that. Fully echo that. Glad you brought that up because that was, yeah. My wallet quivers at the thought.
Yes.
Yeah, right. My wallet's like, please don't. But I'm already going to spend that money anyway. So what does it matter?
All right. Let me do one more check to see if we have folks. Nope. No one there. Okay. So where can the listeners find your channels and your content? Where are you at in the interwebs, Katie?
So you can find me on YouTube at the Lorkeepers, and you can also find me on your podcasting platform of choice. I always say that. At first I said everywhere. To be fair, my token says everywhere, to which my husband said everywhere, and I said, I don't know. I'm sorry. But so not everywhere, but wherever maybe. And then, I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, sometimes on TikTok when I'm feeling creative, and technically X. Right now I've been dual posting because I have really bad FOMO and so afraid I'll miss out on like something important. But that is it. Yeah, I think those are all the platforms.
All right.
Oh, and then also sometimes on the Illuminator Champion League, which is currently on Fridays, but I think soon it'll be Wednesdays and Fridays. So, you'll find me swerving around.
And the Illumineers Champion League, is that just at Illumineer Champions League?
That is, yes. On Twitter, obviously. I'm really good at this. It is Illumineer CL on Twitter is where you can find. And then right now it's been streaming on Luke's Twitch stream, but I will talk to them and see if that'll always be the case. But either way, find on Twitter and then follow the breadcrumbs until you get to where you need to be on that.
Yeah, and when we post this episode, I'll try to get the links in the comments, or not comment section,
show
but
notes.
the show notes.
Yep, just the description. Yep.
So that folks can go and see all that wonderful content. Katie, I am so glad that you were with us tonight. Grateful for your, like I said, your passion and your engagement, and that you can help us close out the year.
I know. I'm sad that for a second you're like, this is the last show of the year. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll be back January 8th.
Perfect.
8th? Is that? Yes, 8th. Now, actually, come to think of that, is that a travel day for you, Rebecca?
It is. Yes.
All right, TBD. Edit this out.
You guys can do the show without me though. I'll be on the 15th for sure for the after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check with Daniel to see what his schedule is. But there will be a show that will happen.
Yeah.
One way or another, and maybe, knock on wood, just going to put the bug in your ear. Maybe you'll be able to dial into the show at some point with the friends in the park.
Maybe. Yes.
All right. We'll see. Okay. I think that's going to do it for our show tonight. On behalf of our guest Katie, as well as Rebecca up to the north and Daniel to the east, and myself, I just want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Vox Lorcana. And as always, remember, Lorcana means family. Good night, everybody.